The story of the Silk Road. Let's go back before the days when stories were written down, before paper even existed. Back then, stories were a way of life, passed down through generations by word of mouth, a living, breathing tradition. Each retelling was a unique performance, a piece of art in its own right. And if you wanted to be a part of it, all you had to do was gather around and listen. Well, here's our story. Our story begins not with a grand event, but with a quiet, patient journey. Imagine the world as it was, a collection of distant lands, each rich in its own unique treasures. For centuries, these worlds existed in isolation, their connections little more than faint whispers carried on the wind. But far away in the east, a secret was being guarded. The delicate, luminous thread of silk. It was a textile of such exquisite beauty and softness that it felt like a woven cloud. The process of its creation was a mystery, a closely held secret that gave an empire its greatest source of wealth. The desire for this incredible fabric was what first began to bridge the vast distances between continents. The journey was not a single, grand expedition, but a collection of countless small, deliberate steps. It was the movement of a single camel, then a handful, then a slow, rhythmic caravan, carrying precious bundles across immense deserts and over towering mountain passes. This was not a journey of conquest, but one of patient, deliberate commerce. The Silk Road was not a single, paved highway. It was a network of paths and trails, carved by the slow, steady footsteps of merchants and travelers. The early routes were faint, almost imperceptible lines on the map of the world. They were dictated by the availability of water, the gentle slopes of the land, and the presence of small, quiet oases that offered a moment of rest. The first traders were not daring heroes, but simply people seeking to share the quiet beauty of their goods. They were the ones who first carried the secret of silk, a thread that would eventually connect the world. The journey began in the hushed courtyards of China, where the gentle clatter of looms and the quiet rustle of silk were the only sounds. From there, the road would whisper its way westward, carrying with it a profound sense of purpose, a quiet, irresistible force that would change the course of history. As Yulistan imagined the vast, open spaces of the desert at dawn, the air is cool and still, the sand a peaceful, undulating sea of gold. You are not rushing, not hurrying. You are simply a traveler, a small part of a great, quiet journey. Let the gentle rhythm of the camel's footsteps and the vast, open silence of the desert guide you into a state of deep and tranquil rest. Now let's continue on to part 2. As the sun rose higher in the sky, casting long shadows across the dunes, the caravan pressed on. Their pace was slow, but steady, much like the relentless march of time itself. Days turned into weeks, and with each passing day, the landscape shifted and changed, offering a mesmerizing spectacle of nature's artistry. The travelers, weathered and seasoned by the harsh realities of the road, navigated these ever-changing landscapes with the intuition of those who had walked these paths countless times before. Each bend in the route held the promise of new experiences, of encounters with people whose lives were as different from their own as the spices they traded. In the heart of this journey lay the soul of the Silk Road, a tapestry woven with threads of adventure, intrigue, and the quiet determination of those who dared to venture into the unknown. The air grew thick with the scent of cinnamon and the murmur of distant languages. The caravan, a microcosm of the world itself, drew closer to the fabled city of Kashgar, a place where the winds of the four corners of the earth were said to meet. As they approached the city, the travelers could feel the energy shift around them, as if the very walls of Kashgar were eager to share their stories. Meanwhile, on the opposite end of the route, in the luxurious courts of Constantinople, a different kind of anticipation was building. Emperor Justinian, his gaze fixed on the horizon, dreamed of expanding his empire. He yearned to reach the distant shores of India, the source of the precious silk that adorned his royal robes. But the journey there was fraught with peril, a daunting task that had tested the limits of human endurance. Yet the emperor was undeterred. He envisioned a world where the treasures of the East would flow freely into his capital, enriching his empire beyond measure. With this vision in mind, he assembled a team of the most skilled cartographers, engineers, and explorers, preparing them with tools and resources to embark on an unprecedented journey. The weight of this mission, the fate of empires hinging on their success, settled heavily on their shoulders. Yet, they were undaunted, fueled by a thirst for discovery and the promise of glory. They set out on their quests, driven by the Emperor's unwavering belief in their mission. Theirs was a journey into the unknown, a race against the elements and the passage of time, all in pursuit of a dream that could reshape the known world. And so the stage was set for an epic journey across the vast expanse of the Eurasian continent. The players were ready, their motivations clear, and the stakes higher than they could have ever imagined. The story of the Silk Road was just beginning. As the last rays of sunlight painted the sky with hues of gold and crimson, the caravan finally reached the gates of the city, a bustling hub of trade and culture, welcomed them with open arms, eager to partake in the riches brought from distant lands. Within its vibrant walls, the travelers found solace and camaraderie, sharing stories of their arduous journey around steaming bowls of fragrant noodles. But the respite was not to last. For as the night deepened and the shadows grew longer, a sense of unease settled over the city. Whispers of danger and intrigue filled the air, casting an ominous cloud over their hard-earned arrival. As the first rays of sunlight pierced through the darkness, the travelers awoke to a city on edge. The tranquility of the Silk Road had been shattered, leaving behind a trail of uncertainty and fear. Amidst this turmoil, a young merchant named Amir found himself at the center of a perilous mystery. His prized possession, a magnificent scroll said to contain ancient secrets, had vanished. In its place, a cryptic note hinting at a larger conspiracy threatened to unravel the very fabric of the Silk Road. Driven by a sense of justice and an unquenchable thirst for adventure, Amir embarked on a quest to uncover the truth, accompanied by a motley crew of allies, each with their own secrets and motivations. He ventured into the labyrinthine alleys of the sprawling marketplace, once a symbol of cultural exchange and trade, now seemed like a treacherous minefield of deceit and hidden agendas. As Amir delved deeper into the mystery, he uncovered a web of intrigue that threatened to engulf the entire Silk Road. Alliances were forged and broken, and the fate of the caravan hung in the balance as ancient rivalries resurfaced and loyalties were tested. Amidst the chaos, Li Xin, a brilliant Chinese cartographer, found herself torn between her duty to the Emperor of China and her growing affection for Amir. Her knowledge of ancient maps and forgotten languages proved instrumental in deciphering the cryptic clues left behind by the thief. Together, they raced against time to recover the stolen scroll, unaware that their every move was being watched by a shadowy figure known only as the Weaver. The Weaver, a mysterious mastermind with a hidden agenda, had orchestrated the theft of the scroll, believing it held the key to unimaginable power. With each step closer to the truth, Amir and Li Xin inched into greater danger, exposing themselves to the full force of the Weaver's wrath. As the final pieces of the puzzle fell into place, they discovered that the Weaver's true intentions went far beyond the confines of the fate of the entire Silk Road, with its intricate network of trade and diplomacy, hung precariously in the balance. Now the stage was set for a thrilling showdown, a battle of wits, courage, and determination that would determine the fate of the Silk Road and the world it connected. As the sun set over the horizon, casting long shadows across the ancient city, the final confrontation approached. In the heart of Kashgar, amidst the bustling marketplace and winding alleyways, a clash of cultures and ambitions was about to unfold. The discovery of the Weaver's identity sent shockwaves through the caravan, shaking the foundations of their trust and alliances. Betrayals and revelations intertwined, forcing them to confront the complexities of human nature. Faced with the prospect of losing everything they had worked so hard to achieve, the travelers were pushed to their limits. Their strength, resilience, and unwavering determination became their guiding lights in the face of adversity. As the clock ticked and the danger grew, they found themselves standing at a precipice. The decisions they made in those crucial moments would determine not only their own fates, but the very future of the Silk Road. With the fate of the Silk Road hanging in the balance, the travelers were forced to make difficult choices that would test the limits of their courage and resolve. The Weaver's machinations, designed to dismantle the fragile peace and prosperity of the Silk Road, threatened to plunge the world into chaos. Amidst the turmoil, the travelers found themselves at a crossroads, each facing their own internal battles and external threats. As the plot thickened, long-held beliefs and convictions were challenged, forcing them to confront their deepest fears and prejudices. The journey that began as a quest for adventure and discovery had transformed into a fight for survival, a desperate struggle to preserve the interconnectedness that defined the Silk Road. In the heart of the conflict, Li Xin's loyalty was torn between her imperial duties and her personal convictions. A mere sense of justice and honor was put to the ultimate test. And the seasoned traveler, Marco Polo, found himself confronting the darkest aspects of human nature. Each traveler had to confront their own inner demons, their doubts, regrets, and unspoken truths. Through their struggles, the story of the Silk Road became a reflection of the human condition, a testament to the strength, resilience, and capacity for good and evil that resided within each individual. As the final showdown loomed on the horizon, the travelers were forced to confront the consequences of their choices. The fate of the Silk Road, with its intricate network of trade and diplomacy, hung precariously in the balance. But the story doesn't end here. The impact of their decisions would resonate far beyond the ancient city of Kashgar, echoing throughout the ages. The Silk Road, more than just a trading route, became a metaphor for the interconnectedness of humanity, a reminder of the fragility of peace and the enduring power of the human spirit. As you stand at the crossroads of history, ready to embark on your own journey of discovery, remember the lessons of the travelers. Embrace the unknown with courage. Seek understanding amidst diversity, and strive to create a better world through empathy and connection. For the path ahead, much like the Silk Road, holds both challenges and wonders, and it is through our shared experiences that we truly connect with the tapestry of life. I invite you to close your eyes and imagine yourself on a ship sailing across the Arabian Sea. The salty wind caressing your face, the spray of the sea on your hands, and the rhythmic rocking of the waves. A soothing lullaby. The year is 1413, and you are part of a fleet carrying precious cargo from China to the Persian Gulf. On board, among merchants and sailors from distant lands, is a young Chinese man named Zhang. He has traveled across the deserts of Central Asia, braving sandstorms and scorching heat to bring his wares to this port. Among his goods are exquisite Chinese silks, delicate porcelain, and the finest tea from the emperor's gardens. The journey has been fraught with challenges, but now the sight of land on the horizon fills him with relief. As the ship docks at Calicut, he steps onto Indian soil, eager to begin the next leg of his journey. He is bound for Baghdad, a city renowned for its grandeur and wealth. But before setting out across the vast expanse of the Arabian desert, Zhang decides to explore the city. As he walks through the bustling streets, he is captivated by the vibrant sights and sounds. The air is thick with the aroma of spices, the calls of street vendors, and the murmur of many languages. Everywhere he looks, there are reminders of the city's prosperity. Magnificent mosques with soaring minarets, bustling marketplaces overflowing with exotic goods, and caravans laden with treasure from distant lands. In a secluded corner of the marketplace, Zhang discovers a small shop filled with instruments unlike any he has seen before. Intricate lutes with shimmering strings, drums adorned with colorful patterns, and flutes that seem to whisper secrets. On the breeze, he picks up a lute and strums a chord. The sound is hauntingly beautiful, and he knows he must have it. The merchant, a wizened old man with twinkling eyes, senses the young man's admiration and agrees to sell it to him. As Zhang continues his exploration, he encounters people from all corners of the world. There are Indian merchants with kohl-rimmed eyes and saffron robes, African traders with weathered skin and tales of distant kingdoms, and Persian scholars with flowing beards and books tucked under their arms. Each encounter broadens his perspective, reminding him of the vastness of the world and the wonders it holds. He visits the great Calicut Palace, where he marvels at the intricate architecture and the court's elegant attire. He attends a gathering where he listens to tales of adventure from seasoned travelers and learns about the legendary cities that lie ahead on his journey. One name keeps popping up: Samarkand, a city whispered to be a jewel of the desert. Finally, when his curiosity is satiated and his supplies replenished, Zhang sets out on his next adventure. He joins a caravan winding its way through the Arabian desert, the same one that will take him to As they leave the bustling city behind, The landscape transforms into rolling dunes and endless horizons. The sun beats down mercilessly, and Zhang, along with the other travelers, endures scorching days and chilly nights. The caravan moves at a slow, steady pace, allowing Zhang time to observe the desert, subtle changes, and the resilience of those who call it home. He watches Bedouin women gracefully maneuvering their camels and expertly reading the stars for navigation. He sees how each member of the caravan plays a vital role, from the camel drivers to the water carriers to the merchants with their diverse wares. Amidst the harsh beauty of the desert, Zhang finds a strange solace. He learns to appreciate the quiet moments, the stillness of a sunrise over the dunes, the sound of the wind whispering through the sand, and the camaraderie of travelers sharing stories around a campfire. As night falls, the desert transforms, becoming a canvas for a sky full of stars. The Milky Way stretches across the heavens like a river of light, and constellations unknown in the northern hemisphere tell stories of ancient heroes and mythical beasts. During one such night, as the travelers are gathered around a crackling fire, a young woman named Layla emerges from the shadows. She's a healer and a storyteller, and she captivates the group with tales of her own travels and encounters with mystical creatures and wise sages. Her stories blend seamlessly between fact and fantasy, leaving the listeners spellbound. One tale involves a magical bird, a messenger from distant lands that carries messages across the desert faster than any caravan could travel. Another tells of a wise hermit living in a cave filled with ancient texts and hidden treasures. Layla's stories not only entertain, but also teach valuable lessons about courage, kindness, and the interconnectedness of all living things. As the night deepens, the travelers share their own stories and experiences, forging a sense of unity and understanding that transcends their different backgrounds. For Zhang, this becomes a defining moment of his journey, a reminder that despite the challenges and uncertainties of travel, there's always room for wonder, imagination, and human connection. With renewed spirits, the caravan continues its journey towards summer, each traveler carrying within them the magic of Layla's stories and the hope of discovering the wonders that await them at the end of their journey. Days turn into weeks as the caravan pushes on across the desert sands. The relentless sun beats down, testing the endurance of both man and beast, but the travelers persevere, sustained by their hopes of reaching Samarkand, the city of their dreams. But as the journey continues, doubts and fears start to creep into Zhang's mind. The unforgiving desert seems to stretch endlessly before them, and the lack of water and supplies takes its toll. Some in the caravan grow disheartened, questioning whether the fabled riches of Samarkand are worth the immense hardships they endure. However, Zhang refuses to give up. He remembers the magnificence of Calicut and the allure of the unknown. With each passing day, his determination to reach Samarkand grows stronger. Then one morning, as the sun begins its ascent over the dunes, a shout rings out from the front of the caravan. Water, water ahead. The cry echoes across the desert, raising hopes that have been steadily dwindling. As the caravan approaches the source of the life, heaving Lakid, the travelers' faces light up with joy and relief. A lush oasis unfolds before them, a welcome respite from the monotony of sand and rock. Palm trees sway gently in the breeze, their fronds providing shade for weary travelers. The sound of flowing water fills the air, promising a much-needed refreshment. Here, amidst the tranquil beauty of the oasis, the travelers make camp for the day. They tend to their animals, quench their thirst with sweet water from the oasis stream, and feast on fresh fruits plucked straight from the palms. The oasis becomes a place of rejuvenation, where the travelers catch their breath, mend their supplies, and share stories of their experiences so far. It is here that Zhang meets a mysterious old man who introduces himself as Hassan. Hassan has lived in the desert for many years, and his face is a road map of his life, etched with wrinkles that tell tales of sun, sand, and solitude. Despite his advanced age, there is a spark in his eyes that hints at a deep connection with the desert and its secrets. Intrigued by the old man's enigmatic presence, Zhang engages him in conversation. Hassan speaks of the desert with a reverence that borders on spirituality, describing how every grain of sand has a story to tell if only one knew how to listen. He talks about the desert's ability to test the spirit and reward those who respect its harsh beauty. As days pass, Zheng feels a growing sense of respect and fascination for the desert under Hassan's guidance. He learns about the medicinal properties of certain desert plants, the navigational skills needed to read the stars and the subtle signs of shifting sands. Hassan becomes a mentor of sorts to Zheng, sharing his wisdom and stories that bring the desert to life. Before long, it is time for the caravan to resume their journey. The oasis recedes into the distance, but its memory remains fresh in Zheng's mind. The travelers continue on, their spirits lifted by the oasis experience and the lessons they learned from the enigmatic Hassan. And as they move closer to Samarkand, anticipation builds. They can almost feel the city's legendary treasures within their grasp, yet they also carry with them the spirit of the desert, a newfound appreciation for the power of nature and the wisdom of those who live in harmony with it. Their journey, once marked by uncertainty, now takes on a hopeful tone. The hardships endured have forged a bond among the travelers, and the prospect of reaching Samarkand together makes the final leg of their journey all the more exciting. And so the story of Zheng and the others continues, a tale of adventure, discovery, and the transformative power of human connection in the face of nature's grand tapestry. The quest for Samarkand drives them forward, knowing that the true rewards often lie not just in the destination, but in the journey and the growth that comes from embracing the unexpected. The Silk Road is a term we use to describe the ancient network of trade routes that connected the East and West, facilitating the exchange of ideas, goods, and cultures between these regions. In many ways, the Silk Road represents a fascinating chapter in human history. It serves as a reminder of our interconnectedness and the impact our interactions can have on shaping civilizations. This first part of our journey takes us through the bustling markets and vibrant cities of China. We'll start our journey in Chang'an, the ancient capital of several Chinese dynasties and a pivotal hub of the Silk Road. This was a city that never slept, a place where merchants from all over Asia gathered, sharing stories and treasures from distant lands. Imagine yourself strolling through the crowded streets, the air thick with the aroma of spices and the murmur of multiple languages. Here, amidst the chaos, we meet our first merchant, a Chinese silk merchant. His shop is filled with bolts of luxurious fabric, each one a masterpiece of craftsmanship. The silk is renowned for its quality, its sheen and softness unmatched anywhere else in the world. For centuries, Chinese silk had been highly prized in the West, and its production was a closely guarded secret. Today, the silk merchant prepares an order for a wealthy customer, carefully selecting bolts of fabric for a grand gown that will soon grace a noble lady in Rome. Each yard of silk carries with it the quiet story of thousands of silkworms, their cocoons meticulously gathered and boiled by nimble hands, their threads carefully unwound and patiently woven into exquisite patterns. The merchant understands this story well, having spent his life among the looms and dyes. He knows that the silk he sells is not just a commodity. It's a testament to the quiet, patient labor of countless artisans. The weight of this understanding rests on him, shaping not just how he does business, but how he sees the world. His respect for the hard work evident in every thread of silk guides his interactions, influencing the way he treats his customers and his fellow merchants. For him, trade is more than just an exchange of goods. It's a celebration of human effort and creativity. His life and work are a reflection of the philosophy that underpins Chinese culture, a deep appreciation for the beauty of simplicity and the power of quiet, focused labor. But our journey is not over. Beyond the city walls, the open road beckons with its promise of adventure and discovery. Leaving Chang'an behind, we find ourselves traversing the rugged terrain of Central Asia. The wind whispers tales of empires past, and the mountains stand as silent sentinels guarding the secrets of the Silk Road. Our path leads us to Samarkand, a city that has always been a crossroads of cultures. Here, the traditions of China meet those of Persia and Greece, creating a melting pot of ideas and customs. In the bustling marketplace, we encounter a merchant from Persia. His wares are as diverse as the cultures he has encountered on his travels, reflecting the fusion of East and West that defines this region. The Persian merchant is a storyteller. His eyes twinkled with the excitement of discovery and his hands move with the eloquence of a poet. With each tale, he brings distant lands closer, allowing us to experience the Silk Road not just as a trade route, but as a tapestry of human experiences. He speaks of the grandeur of Constantinople, the wisdom of Greek philosophers, and the warmth of Persian hospitality. His words paint vivid pictures in our minds, transporting us to places we have never seen. Listening to him, we realize that the Silk Road is more than just a route for trade. It's a highway for stories, a conduit for cultural exchange. As our journey continues, we must understand that the Silk Road wasn't just about the goods traded. It was about the connections forged, the stories shared, and the worldviews that collided and mingled along the way. The Persian merchant steles serve as a reminder of the human element at the heart of this historic trade route, reminding us that the true treasures of the Silk Road are the connections and experiences that enrich our lives. Now we find ourselves in Antioch, a city where the might of Rome meets the allure of the East. The air is alive with the sounds of a bustling metropolis, the murmur of traders, the clatter of chariots, and the laughter of children playing in the market squares. We meet a Roman merchant, a shrewd businessman with a keen eye for profit and a love for the finer things in life. His shop is filled with the spoils of the East, from the finest silks of China to the intricate glassware of Venice. The Roman merchant embodies the spirit of his time, a blend of practicality and extravagance, ambition and indulgence. He is a connector, a link between the exotic wonders of the East and the grandeur of the Roman Empire. For him, the Silk Road is a source of wealth and prestige, a means to acquire the coveted goods that set him apart in Roman society. He understands the value of these items, not just in terms of money, but in terms of status and luxury. In his mind, they are symbols of his success, tokens of his ability to navigate the perilous routes of the Silk Road and outmaneuver his competitors in the market. The Roman merchant's pursuit of luxury and status reflects the broader trends of his era. The growing affluence of the Roman middle class and the increasing demand for exotic goods. He is a representative of a new economic order emerging in the ancient world, where trade and commerce are elevating individuals to new heights of wealth and influence. As our journey progresses, it's crucial to recognize that the Silk Road's impact extended far beyond the exchange of goods. It played a significant role in shaping the social and economic dynamics of the ancient world, laying the foundation for the rise of merchant classes and new forms of wealth. The Roman merchant serves as a symbol of this transformation, showcasing how the Silk Road was instrumental in reshaping the economic landscape of antiquity. Our journey now takes us to the heart of India, a land rich in spiritual wisdom and material treasures. Here in Nalanda, we find a Buddhist monk. His life is dedicated to seeking enlightenment, but he, too, engages in the commerce of the Silk Road, trading not for personal gain, but for the benefit of his community. The Buddhist monk is a seeker of knowledge and peace. His robes are simple, his demeanor serene, yet his eyes hold the depth of one who has delved into the mysteries of existence. He is a traveler along the Silk Road, not for material gain, but to spread the message of Buddhism and gather texts that preserve ancient wisdom. The monk embodies the values of his faith, compassion, mindfulness, and the pursuit of enlightenment. For him, the Silk Road is a path to enlightenment, a way to connect with fellow practitioners and share the teachings of Buddha. He believes in the interconnectedness of all beings and the importance of understanding different cultures on his journey. He engages with merchants, scholars, and rulers, sharing stories of inner peace and the universality of human experience. The Buddhist monk's approach to the Silk Road is a testament to the power of spirituality in shaping one's perspective and actions. His journey reminds us that the pursuit of enlightenment and the exchange of goods are not mutually exclusive, but can coexist and complement each other. And so our journey along the Silk Road comes full circle, connecting us to the timeless wisdom of Buddhist monks who found common ground amidst the hustle and bustle of ancient trade. Their pursuit of inner peace echoes the universal human desire for understanding and connection, reminding us that the true treasures of the Silk Road are often found in the intangible realms of the heart and mind. The Silk Road was more than just a network of trade routes. It was a vibrant tapestry of human interaction, cultural exchange, and spiritual exploration. Each stop along our journey has revealed a unique facet of this historic network, from the meticulous craftsmanship of the Chinese silk merchant to the adventurous spirit of the Roman merchant and the spiritual wisdom of the Buddhist monk. The Silk Road invites us to embrace the richness and complexity of our world, to appreciate the beauty of cultural diversity, and to recognize the profound impact our choices and connections can have on shaping our world. As we reflect on our journey along the Silk Road, let us carry with us the lessons learned from these encounters, embracing the spirit of adventure, the pursuit of excellence, the importance of cultural understanding, and the timeless wisdom that resonates within us all. And remember that the true treasures of the Silk Road are not just the goods traded, but the connections forged, the stories shared, and the transformative experiences that enrich our lives. Beneath the vibrant surface, a quieter revolution was taking place. A silent spread of ideas that would echo throughout the ages. While merchants hawked their wares, and emperors amassed their riches, something more profound was traveling along the Silk Road, something that transcended the boundaries of empires and the limits of mountains. This was the subtle yet pervasive journey of ideas, beliefs, and philosophies that shaped the course of human history. These intangible treasures were not as visible as the sacks of silk, or as tangible as the minted gold, yet their impact was no less significant. Let's talk about one of the most notable examples of this quiet exchange, the spread of Buddhism. Imagine a lone monk robed in saffron, his face weathered by the sun and wind, his eyes reflecting the wisdom of countless journeys. He walks with a measured step, not burdened by haste, for he carries within him a treasure more precious than gold. His steps may be slow, but his purpose is unwavering, driven by an inner strength that knows no bounds. His destination is not a market or a palace, but the hearts and minds of those he encounters along the way. He seeks not material wealth, but spiritual enlightenment. His path is a pilgrimage, his life a testament to the teachings he holds dear. Asa journeys is not merely traversing a physical distance, but bridging the gaps in understanding between people and beliefs. Every step he takes brings him closer to his goal. Every mile he covers resonates with the echoes of ancient wisdom. In the stillness of his being, he embodies the essence of his faith, radiating a calmness that soothes troubled minds and warms weary souls. His presence is a beacon of hope in a world often shrouded in darkness. He carries with him not just scriptures, but the living embodiment of compassion, tolerance, and inner peace. His journey is a silent testament to the power of belief, a quiet revolution that uplifts the human spirit and challenges conventional norms. Buddhism, born in the tranquil mind of Siddhartha Gautama, had begun its eastward journey long before our monk set out on his path. And now it was making its way to the west, carried by the likes of him who dedicated their lives to its propagation. These monks walked for months, sometimes years, their journey a test of endurance and devotion. They carried with them the Buddhist scriptures, not in ornate volumes, but in scrolls, carefully packed to withstand the rigors of the road. Their provisions were simple, their needs few, for their true sustenance came from the teachings they Along the way, they encountered people from diverse cultures, each with their own beliefs and customs. Yet the monks remained steadfast in their mission, sharing the Buddhist message of compassion, mindfulness, and enlightenment. They would stop at monasteries, oases, or any place that offered a moment's respite from the harsh terrain. Here they would gather in small groups, sharing their experiences and reinforcing their commitment to their shared faith. Despite the differences in language and custom, the monks found common ground in the universal human search for meaning and purpose. Their gatherings became not just a sharing of ideas, but a celebration of unity amidst diversity. In the evenings, after a day of travel, they would sit in quiet contemplation, their minds focused on the teachings of the Buddha. The vastness of the sky above them mirrored the boundless compassion they strived to embody. The silence of the desert around them was not empty, but filled with the whispers of ancient wisdom. Through meditation and shared reflection, they deepened their understanding of Buddhist principles, drawing strength from the collective energy of their fellowship. The monks were not mere preachers. They were ambassadors of peace, carrying a message that transcended cultural barriers. They spoke of nonviolence, tolerance, and inner peace, ideals that resonated with many who yearned for a deeper meaning in their lives. Their words were not forceful, but gentle, inviting people to explore the Buddhist path at their own pace. The impact of their message was profound. People from various walks of life found solace in Buddhism, from merchants weary from their travels to farmers seeking respite from the hardships of their work. The monks' simple yet powerful message of compassion and enlightenment offered a beacon of hope in a world often marked by conflict and despair. As the centuries passed, these quiet wanderers continued their pilgrimage, their numbers growing, their influence spreading. They became known as the messengers of the Dharma, carrying the teachings of the Buddha to every corner of the Silk Road. Their legacy lived on in the communities they touched, in the lives they transformed, and in the enduring message of peace they left behind. But the exchange of ideas was not limited to religion. The Silk Road was a conduit for philosophies and scientific knowledge. The art of paper-making, invented in China, traveled westward, transforming the way information was shared. This invention, born out of practicality and necessity, had profound implications for the spread of knowledge and ideas across the ancient world. Initially used for practical purposes such as record-keeping and trade transactions, paper soon became a medium for sharing stories, philosophies, and scientific discoveries. The journey of paper-making across the Silk Road was not a swift one. It was a gradual process that mirrored the slow but steady transmission of cultural exchanges along the trade routes. As merchants and travelers carried paper and the tools to make it, they inadvertently became agents of a silent revolution, introducing this versatile material to new lands and people. Each sheet of paper carried with it the potential to transform lives by providing a lightweight, durable, and easily reproducible surface for writing, printing, and artistic expression. The reception of paper in different regions varied. Some cultures embraced it readily, recognizing its potential to enhance communication and education, while others were slower to adopt it due to factors like existing writing traditions or economic considerations. Regardless, once introduced, paper took root and flourished. Local artisans adapted paper-making techniques to suit their resources and preferences, leading to variations in quality and production methods across different regions. The impact of paper on the exchange of ideas was nothing short of revolutionary. It facilitated the spread of religious texts, scientific treatises, and literary works, allowing for the dissemination of knowledge on a scale that was previously unimaginable. Philosophies like Buddhism found new audiences, and scientific advancements made their way to distant lands, contributing to the growth and evolution of intellectual discourse. The ease of producing multiple copies of texts also led to the standardization of writing and the emergence of literacy among different populations. Paper became a catalyst for education, enabling individuals to access knowledge and express their thoughts more readily. As the centuries passed, paper-making spread beyond the confines of the Silk Road, carried by traders, scholars, and missionaries to distant corners of the world. Its influence expanded, shaping societies, fostering education, and facilitating the exchange of ideas that enriched cultures and advanced human civilization. The story of paper is a testament to the transformative power of innovation and the role that seemingly ordinary objects can play in shaping the course of history. From the bustling markets to the serene monasteries, from the pages of ancient scrolls to the quiet contemplation of monks, the Silk Road was more than just a route for trade. It was a path for the quiet, profound journey of ideas and beliefs. These intangible treasures traveled with a subtlety that was even more powerful than the tangible riches that moved along its path. And now it's time for you to embark on your own journey. Take a moment to reflect on the profound ideas and beliefs that have shaped your life. Consider the ways in which these have been passed down or shared, just as the monks carried Buddhist teachings across vast distances. The heart of the Silk Road was the caravan, but this was not the hurried, chaotic journey of a modern convoy. It was a slow rhythmic procession, a testament to the power of deliberate, unhurried motion. The camels were the gentle giants of this world, their soft, padded feet making a quiet thud on the sand. Their steady, unhurried gait was a kind of moving meditation, a constant, soothing rhythm that could lull the mind into a state of profound calm. This is the sound of the Silk Road. Welcome to this channel. When you think of travel, what do you imagine? The roar of engines, the cacophony of city streets, the jarring jolt of public transport. Today's travel is often synonymous with noise and haste. We hurry from place to place, always in a rush, always on the move. But it wasn't always like this. Part 5. The gentle rhythm of the camel caravan. Imagine this. You are on a journey across the vast expanse of a desert. The sun beats down on your back. The wind whispers tales of distant lands, and beneath your feet is the soft, gilding sand. You are traveling with a caravan, a long line of merchants, and their goods winding as far as the eye can see. The air is thick with the smell of dust and leather and the distant sound of chanting. And then you hear it, the soft, rhythmic thud of padded feet on the sand. It is the sound of the camels, those gentle giants of the desert, carrying their loads with a grace that belies their size. The sound of the caravan was a symphony of soft, quiet noises, the gentle jingling of a small bell on a camel's neck, perhaps warding off evil spirits, the soft creak of a leather saddle under the weight of a weary rider, the quiet whisper of a blanket or a shawl in the wind, like a sigh, escaping from the lips of a sleeping giant. The voices of the travelers were low and hushed, as if not to disturb the vast, profound silence of the desert. There was no sense of hurry, no frantic rush to a deadline. The speed of the caravan was the speed of the earth itself, a slow, patient, and irresistible force. As the sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the dunes, the caravan would make camp. The camels would kneel, their heavy lids dropping to the ground with a soft thud, their bodies sinking into the sand like ships into the sea. The men would murmur prayers, giving thanks for their safe arrival at the end of a day's journey. The air grew cooler as twilight deepened into night. The stars emerged one by one, pricking the darkness with their cold fire. Above, the sky blazed with a million diamond lights, so close they seemed within reach. And below, around the flickering glow of a small fire, the travelers shared stories and laughter, their faces illuminated in the dancing flames. The sound of the caravan was the sound of a community, a family bound together by the rhythm of the road. It was a sound that echoed the ancient pulse of humanity, the sound of people journeying across the face of the earth in search of new horizons. There was no roaring engine, only the soft thud of camel feet on sand. No blaring horn, only the gentle jingle of a camel's bell. No screeching brakes, only the soft creak of a saddle. No angry shouts, only the low murmur of human voices and the occasional cry of a lonely bird. There was no sense of urgency, no need to speed past the beauty of the world. There was only the rhythm of the road, a slow, steady beat that echoed the timeless journey of life itself. Imagine sitting around a campfire in the heart of a desert, the vast expanse of the night sky above you filled with a million twinkling stars. You are surrounded by fellow travelers, merchants and storytellers, all gathered together for a moment of rest on the long journey along the Silk Road. The air is still, the only sound, the crackle of the fire and the soft murmur of voices. Suddenly, you hear it, a gentle thud, 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 like footsteps on soft sand. At first, you think it's the wind playing tricks on your ears. But then you see them, a line of camels emerging from the darkness, their silhouettes outlined against the starlight. The camels are laden with silks and spices, their bells tinkling softly in the night air. Their steady pace speaks of years of patient endurance, their eyes reflecting the wisdom of countless journeys across the desert. As the caravan approaches, you can hear the soft creak of their saddles, the whisper of their breath, and the low rumble of their contentment. Each step they take is a testament to their strength, each breath a reminder of their resilience. The leader of the caravan calls out, his voice echoing across the dunes. In response, the camels shift and stir, their bells chiming in harmony. The journey continues, and as you watch, you feel a sense of wonder and respect for these gentle giants and the role they have played in connecting the world. For thousands of years, the camels have been the heart and soul of the Silk Road, their rhythmic steps weaving a timeless tapestry of trade and adventure across the sands of time. The caravan had a natural, almost hypnotic rhythm. It started with the steady beat of the camel's feet on the ground, a soft, even thud that never varied. This was the heartbeat of the journey. On top of this steady rhythm was a layer of quieter sounds, the soft jangle of bells around the camels' necks, the creak of leather straps, and the whisper of wind through the canvas of the tents. These sounds wove together with the heartbeat to create a kind of lullaby, a song that lulled the travelers into a peaceful state of mind. In the midst of this rhythmic journey, there were moments of sudden, unexpected sound, a bird that cried out as it flew overhead, startling the camels into a brief flurry of movement, the sudden bark of a dog in the distance, quickly silenced by the stern call of its master. Even the wind seemed to have its own voice, whispering secrets through the dunes and sighing softly over the tents. All of these sounds were accepted, even welcomed by the travelers. They were part of the journey, just as the rhythm of the road was part of their lives. And then there were the moments of silence, moments when the rhythm was broken and everything was still. The stillness of the desert night, broken only by the soft crackle of the fire, the brief quiet that fell over the camp as the travelers prepared for bed. Even the camels seemed to understand these moments of silence. They stood still, their bodies still and quiet, their eyes reflecting the starlight. In these moments of silence, the travelers could hear the sound of their own hearts beating, a reminder of the precious gift of life that was carried within them. The caravans traveled slowly, deliberately, allowing the travelers to observe the world around them. As the caravan moved across the landscape, the travelers could see the play of light and shadow on the dunes. They could watch the wind-sculpted sand dunes morph and change, their peaks and valleys shifting with the wind. They could see the tracks left by animals in the sand, the marks of their passage, a silent story written in the soft earth. The deliberate pace of the journey allowed the travelers to appreciate the subtle beauty of the desert, the soft, pastel colors of dawn and dusk, the delicate patterns formed by wind-blown sand, the ephemeral shapes cast by the setting sun, even the hardships of the journey. The scorching heat of the midday sun or the biting wind of the desert night were seen as opportunities for growth and resilience. The travelers learned to adapt and persevere, to find comfort in the rhythm of the road and the solace of the stars. The slow pace of the caravan forced the travelers to be present in the moment too. Savor the simple pleasures of life, a cool drink of water, the taste of a shared meal, the comfort of camaraderie around a flickering fire. They learned to appreciate the journey as much as the destination, to find beauty in the rhythm of the road. The sound of the caravan was not just a soundtrack to the journey, it was an integral part of the experience. It was a reminder of the ancient pulse of humanity, the sound of people journeying across the face of the earth in search of new horizons. In the rhythmic cadence of the camel's walk, the travelers found a kind of moving meditation, a constant, soothing rhythm that could lull the mind into a state of profound calm. It was a sound that echoed the timeless journey of life itself, a reminder to slow down, to be still, and to find beauty in the subtle movements of the world. And as you listen, imagine yourself as a part of this quiet procession. Feel the gentle, rhythmic motion of the camels. Hear the soft sounds of the desert night. Let the peaceful journey of the caravan guide you into a state of deep and tranquil rest. So let's take a step back in time and see how it came to an end. The end of the Silk Road was not a dramatic event. There was no big battle, no great disaster. Instead, it was a gradual process that happened over several centuries. The lifeblood of the Silk Road was the desire for trade. People wanted to trade goods because they needed them or because they could make money off of them. But as time went on, new trade routes opened up that were faster, cheaper, and more efficient. One of the most important of these new routes was the sea route that connected China to India and Southeast Asia. This route allowed merchants to transport their goods much faster and in much larger quantities than was possible on the Silk Road. In addition, maritime trade was less dangerous than overland trade, because there were fewer obstacles such as mountains and deserts. For these reasons, many merchants began to use the sea route instead of the Silk Road. As the sea route became more popular, the trade on the Silk Road began to decline. By the 15th century, the sea route was so well established that most merchants were using it. As a result, the Silk Road was effectively dead by this point. There are many reasons why the Silk Road declined. The opening of new trade routes was one reason, but there were others. One factor that contributed to the decline of the Silk Road was the changing political landscape of Eurasia. During the height of the Silk Road, there was a lot of cooperation between the different empires and kingdoms. But as time went on, there was more conflict. For example, the Mongol Empire fragmented after Genghis Khan's death, and there was a lot of fighting among the different Mongol princes. This instability made it more dangerous to travel on the Silk Road. Another factor that contributed to the decline of the Silk Road was the plague. The plague killed millions of people in Asia and Europe, and it devastated the economies of many countries. This pandemic made it difficult for merchants to find buyers for their goods. The plague also killed many of the animals that were used for transportation, such as horses and camels. This made it even more difficult to move goods along the Silk Road. Finally, another factor that contributed to the decline of the Silk Road was the increasing power of European colonialism. As European powers began to colonize Asia, They began to control the trade in the region. They set up trading posts and started taking raw materials back to Europe to manufacture. This hurt the economies of the Asian countries along the Silk Road, and it made it less profitable for merchants to trade there. Despite the decline of the Silk Road, its legacy lived on. The Silk Road had a profound impact on the world. It helped to spread ideas, technologies, and goods across Eurasia. It also helped to create new cities and new wealth. Even though the Silk Road is no longer in use, its legacy continues to live on today. The Silk Road was a major factor in the development of Eurasian history. It facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures between East and West. One of the most important things that the Silk Road facilitated the exchange of was ideas. This is perhaps the most important legacy of the Silk Road. The exchange of ideas helped to promote understanding and cooperation between different cultures. For example, the Silk Road helped to spread Buddhism from India to China. It also facilitated the exchange of scientific and technological ideas. For example, paper-making and gunpowder were invented in China and then spread to other parts of Asia and Europe through the Silk Road. Another important thing that the Silk Road facilitated the exchange of was, of course, goods. This included luxury goods like silk and spices, but also more mundane things like textiles and pottery. The exchange of goods created new markets for merchants and helped to generate wealth in the cities along the Silk Road. Despite the decline of the Silk Road, its legacy lives on today. The Silk Road had a profound impact on the world. It helped to spread ideas, technologies, and goods across Eurasia. It also helped to create new cities and new wealth. Even though the Silk Road is no longer in use, its legacy continues to live on. Today, the world is becoming increasingly interconnected, and this is in large part due to the legacy of the Silk Road. The Silk Road showed that it is possible for people from different cultures to cooperate and trade peacefully. It also showed that the exchange of goods and ideas can be mutually beneficial. These lessons are just as relevant today as they were 2,000 years ago. As you list them, imagine the vast network of trade routes that once connected the world. Picture the bustling marketplaces where merchants from all over Asia and Europe came to buy and sell their wares. See the caravans winding their way through deserts and over mountains, carrying precious cargo from one city to the next. Feel the energy of the Silk Road, the excitement of discovery, and the thrill of adventure. Now, however, let's shift the scene. Imagine the crashing of waves and the creaking of ships. Picture sailors navigating the open seas, discovering new trade routes, and bringing back exotic goods from distant lands. Feel the sea breeze on your skin and hear the cries of seagulls overhead. See the bustling ports where merchants unload their cargo and prepare to sell their wares to eager customers. Imagine the clash of swords and the rumble of cannons. Picture mighty armies clashing on the battlefield as new powers rise and old empires fall. Feel the tension of the moment as victory hangs in the balance. See the changing landscapes of the world as new trade routes open up and old ones fade away. The era of exploration and discovery is coming to an end. The Silk Road has carried civilizations on its back for centuries, but now a new age is dawning. The Industrial Revolution is on the horizon, and with it, the world will never be the same. The past 1,000 years have seen great changes, but nothing compares to what lies ahead. The Silk Road is often thought of as a single road or route, but it was actually a network of roads, pathways, and sea routes that spanned over 4,000 miles. It connected the East and the West, linking countries such as China, India, Persia, Arabia, Egypt, and Rome. The Silk Road facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures between these distant civilizations. It was a hub of activity for centuries, connecting the world like never before. At its peak, the Silk Road was a busy thoroughfare with merchants, missionaries, soldiers, and adventurers. Traveling its length, goods were transported by pack animals such as camels and horses, and trade flourished along the route. Cities grew around the oases that dotted the landscape, providing rest and supplies for travelers. The Silk Road was more than just a trade route. It was a cultural exchange. Ideas and religions spread along the route as travelers shared their beliefs and customs with those they met. Buddhism, for example, spread from India to China along the Silk Road. The Silk Road also saw the exchange of technology and inventions. Papermaking, gunpowder, and the compass, all invented in China, spread to the west along the Silk Road. Similarly, Greek and Roman inventions found their way to the east. The Silk Road had a profound impact on the world, shaping the course of history and connecting civilizations in unprecedented ways. It facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures, and its influence can still be felt today. When the sun sets over the horizon and paints the sky with hues of amber and rose, casting long shadows across the dunes, it is a time for reflection, a time to recount the day's adventures and the stories that unfolded beneath the watchful gaze of the stars. The air grows still, carrying the whispers of the desert wind as the day's heat recedes, leaving behind a canvas of tranquility. This is the hour when the soul of the desert seems to come alive, when the vast expanse of the night sky transforms into a celestial map, guiding weary travelers like us towards a sanctuary of rest. We settle down beside our camels, their rhythmic breathing a soothing lullaby after a day of traversing the boundless desert. The vast darkness above us is studded with a million tiny lights, each twinkling tale of a distant sun, just as the ancients must have gazed at these same stars, finding solace and direction in their timeless dance. As the night deepens, the temperature drops, bringing a blessed relief from the day's scorching heat. Under the cloak of darkness, the desert transforms, revealing a nocturnal beauty that is both enchanting and serene. The soft, yielding sand of the desert floor becomes our bed, cradling us in its embrace, while the endless expanse of the night sky serves as our roof, sheltering us with the grandeur of the cosmos. In this stark, yet breathtaking landscape, we find a profound connection with the ancient travelers who braved these very sands, their hopes and dreams echoing through the corridors of time. Here, under the veil of night, with the celestial tapestry spread above us, we share stories and laughter, forging bonds that transcend the boundaries of time. The desert night is our companion, the silence broken only by the soft murmur of our voices and the gentle rustling of the wind. It is a symphony of tranquility, a harmonious blend of solitude and camaraderie, where the worries of the world fade into the vastness of the desert sky. As the hours drift by, the desert night reveals its secrets, the phosphorescence of nocturnal creatures, the haunting melody of an owl's call, or the sudden shimmer of a mirage. Each moment is a discovery, a reminder of the boundless wonders that nature has in store for those who venture into her embrace. And then, as the first hint of dawn begins to illuminate the eastern horizon, we turn our thoughts to the journey ahead, the anticipation building with the rising sun. The desert morning is a spectacle of colors, the sky ablaze with hues of gold and crimson as the sun ascends to greet the day. The sand, bathed in the warm glow of sunrise, shimmers with 1,000 shades of amber and rose. It is a moment of renewal, a time to gather our strength and prepare for the adventures that await us as we continue our pilgrimage along the ancient Silk Road. The ancient caravan routes that formed the backbone of the Silk Road thrived due to the principles of balance and moderation. These routes were carefully planned to ensure a steady flow of goods and cultural exchange between distant civilizations. The concept of balance was central to the Silk Road's success. Merchants and traders carried goods that were in demand at both ends of their journey, creating a system of reciprocity that fostered economic growth along the route. For example, Chinese silk, highly valued in the West, was exchanged for horses from Central Asian regions, which were sought after for their strength and endurance. This careful selection of commodities ensured that the caravans returned with valuable items, contributing to the overall prosperity of the trading network. In addition to balancing the trade of goods, the Silk Road also facilitated the exchange of ideas, religions, and technologies. The diverse cultures that interacted along the route contributed to the diffusion of knowledge, fostering intellectual growth and innovation in various societies. For instance, the transmission of Buddhist teachings from India to China, as well as the spread of Islam to Central Asian regions, exemplified the Silk Road's role in promoting religious and philosophical exchange. Moreover, practical innovations, such as the use of paper, gunpowder, and the compass, traveled along the Silk Road, influencing technological advancements in different civilizations. The principle of moderation was equally important to the longevity of the Silk Road. The network's vastness allowed for a gradual and manageable flow of goods and people, reducing the risk of sudden disruptions or imbalances. This approach ensured that trade continued steadily over the long term, contributing to the sustained prosperity of the regions involved. Furthermore, the Silk Road's extensive network of trading posts, inns, and settlements provided travelers with necessary provisions and rest stops, allowing them to maintain a steady pace without undue strain. This emphasis on moderation helped to preserve the cultural and economic integrity of the Silk Road, ensuring that its benefits endured for centuries. The collapse of the Silk Road was a gradual process, influenced by various interconnected factors. One significant contributor was the emergence of maritime trade routes, particularly after the discovery of new seafaring technologies and the establishment of sea-based empires. Sea routes offered faster and more efficient means of transporting goods, reducing the importance of land-based networks like the Silk Road. For instance, the voyages of Vasco da Gama and Christopher Columbus opened up direct trade routes between Europe and Asia, bypassing much of the Silk Road network. The growth of maritime trade also led to the decline of many coastal cities that had previously served as key hubs along the Silk Road. As trade shifted to sea-based networks, these coastal settlements lost their strategic importance, and their prosperity waned. Another crucial factor in the Silk Road demise was the increasing political fragmentation and instability within and around Eurasia. The disintegration of large empires and the rise of smaller, more fragmented states disrupted the once extensive trading networks. For example, the decline of the Mongol Empire, which had played a significant role in facilitating trade along the Silk Road, led to a resurgence of local powers and the reimposition of tariffs and restrictions on trade. This fragmentation hindered the smooth flow of goods and increased the risks associated with long-distance travel and trade. Furthermore, the changing dynamics of power and wealth distribution played a role in the Silk Road's decline. As new centers of wealth and influence emerged, such as in Europe during the Renaissance and the Americas after the discovery of the New World, the focus of trade shifted away from the Eurasian landmass. The transatlantic and trans-Pacific trade routes became more prominent, further marginalizing the Silk Road network. Additionally, the introduction of new goods and products, such as those brought back from the Americas, made some of the commodities once traded along the Silk Road less desirable. For example, the availability of American silver significantly reduced the demand for Chinese porcelain, which had been highly prized in both Europe and Asia. In conclusion, the collapse of the Silk Road was a complex process driven by multiple factors. The rise of maritime trade, political fragmentation, shifting power dynamics, and changing consumer preferences all contributed to the decline of this once thriving network. The end of the Silk Road marked a turning point in global trade patterns and had profound implications for the connected regions, ushering in new challenges and opportunities as the world entered a new era of commerce and exploration. At the edge of the desert, where the dunes meet the sky, we find ourselves at the end of our journey along the ancient Silk Road. Our camels have carried us through vast landscapes, over towering mountains, and across arid plains, and now they stand patiently, their heads held high, their bodies silhouetted against the setting sun. Their bells chime softly, a gentle farewell to the road that has been our companion for so long. As we dismount, a profound sense of stillness envelops us, a quietude that mirrors the vast emptiness of the desert around us. The setting sun casts long shadows, stretching our figures thin and fragile, like wisps of smoke drifting in the twilight breeze. A deep calm settles over the desert, broken only by the soft sigh of the wind whispering through the dunes. It is a moment of profound reflection, a time to contemplate the journey we have shared and the stories that have unfolded beneath the watchful gaze of the ancient stars. With heavy hearts, we turn to bid farewell to our steadfast companions, the camels that have borne us through the trials and triumphs of the Silk Road. Their strength and resilience have been our anchor, their presence a constant in the ever-changing landscapes we have traversed. Now, as the desert night envelops us, we gather around a small fire, its flickering light painting dancing shadows on the sand. Around us, the remnants of our journey lie scattered, a mix of earthly treasures and intangible memories that have enriched our souls. The treasures we have gathered along the way, silks from the east, spices from the south, and tales from wandering storytellers, become tokens of a journey that has touched our hearts and expanded our minds. And so our adventure comes to an end. The camels have found their final resting place, and the desert is quiet once again. The vast story of the Silk Road echoes through the ages, reminding us of the enduring spirit of exploration and the timeless allure of the unknown. Let the echoes of this gentle journey fill your mind and guide you into a state of deep, uninterrupted rest. Close your eyes, and may your dreams be filled with the quiet, peaceful beauty of the Silk Road. Thank you for joining us on this extraordinary journey along the Silk Road. If you enjoyed this adventure, please don't hesitate to show your support. Your encouragement means the world to us and inspires us to continue creating immersive travel, experiences that transport you to faraway lands and bygone eras. Until next time, keep exploring, keep dreaming, and may the spirit of adventure guide you on your own path to discovery.